All right, DM James coming back with a video. This is going to be, well, I've never made a video like this before, but that doesn't mean, you know, maybe someone else has. I don't know. This is all new to me. And I'm going to ask the question. Have any of you as DMs out there, let's say this is a question mostly for DMs, but of course players out there, you don't got to be a forever DM to have an opinion here. You can have all the opinions you want. And actually, player opinions, now that I think about it, would be really good since the players are the ones who are going to be most affected. Have any of you DMs who have started about starting up a new game, say the players want to do this? And of course, before any of my players who watch this video start freaking out, I'm not thinking about that. OSC continues. We're having a good time. Let's keep having a good time. But let's say at some point in the future, my players are like, hey, we want to play some other game, right? And I'm like, well, what kind of game? And they're like, I don't know. And they pick the type. And for this particular case, it doesn't matter. Since this is just opinions I'm seeking from other gamers. So the game is chosen, and the players really don't know what they want to play. And this could be anything, Call of Cthulhu, whatever. As a matter of fact, that's kind of where I've gotten the inspiration to even bring the topic up, is Mansions of Madness, second edition. So as a DM with access to a 3D printer, but hey, I know there's DMs out there who just have a ton of miniatures, right? Say you have 20 genre specific miniatures, and say we're talking Call of Cthulhu, and you've just got a gigantic box laying around your house somewhere full of investigators of every type you can imagine, of every race, males, females, black, white, Asian, whatever you have, right? You've got them laying around. And if, even better, what if, you've got those players painted even, right? That would be kind of awesome. And again, a lot of this is because my family, we really enjoy playing Mansions of Madness second edition, which is kind of like a hybrid board game / role playing game. We enjoy the hell out of it, right? But one thing that happens in that game a lot of the time, especially when you're very new to the game and you don't understand anything really about it that much, is people tend to pick characters based on the miniature of the character, like you're sitting there and you're like, I don't know who I want to play. And then you see Jim Culver, the smooth blues guy from Louisiana, New Orleans, and he's got his trumpet. And so you're like, I'm going to play the black guy here. Why? Because I just love the look of the miniature, and I like kind of the minimalistic story I have. He's a blues guy. And maybe that's something you like, that's me. That's the character I pick. Or maybe you see the young ex-cult person and you're like, I want to play that character, right? The point I am getting at, excuse me for if I have a runny nose, I do have a little bit of a runny nose for some reason, is that so you might not, until you actually pick up the character card and start looking at it, you may have exactly zero knowledge of that character's capabilities, attributes, special skills, anything, Like if you decide to play the Roman Catholic priest, Father Mikado, all you know is that it's an Italian guy or Spanish, whatever. And he's a priest. He's wearing, priest robes. If you choose to play, the psychologist, you just know that it's a older person, I think woman wearing like, a business suit and with a notepad and a pencil. So then you read the attributes after you've kind of already picked the character just based on appearance. Now, my question then, and you've probably already, because, people who watch my videos tend to be much more intelligent than people who don't, even the haters that hate watch. The question becomes then, have you ever considered doing that with a role-playing game? Let's say you and your players have only ever played fantasy role-playing games like your whole life. That's just all you guys have been doing, right? But then your players decide, let's give Boot Hill 3rd Edition a try. Somebody picked it up on DriveThruRPG. They got a great deal on a printed copy, or Gamma World, or whatever it is, Traveler. It could be any game. And you decide, okay, because I play Stargrave and various other games, and I love, War Games Atlantic and War Games Atlantic. Thank you so much for, agreeing to make miniatures for Traveler 2300. I am freaking stoked like you wouldn't believe. And I can't wait to get free STLs and shit like that. I'm going to print up so many Kafer. It's just insane. But anyway, right? So you just show the players a bunch of pictures of your miniatures with like a super brief description, like scientist, farmer, secretary, whatever it is, right? Say we're playing Traveler, right? Drifter, miner, bounty hunter, whatever, right? So you show them all the pictures of the characters. And I think for best results, depending on your group, my group has a lot of ladies in it. Make sure you've got a good variety of miniatures, but tell the players, pick the character you want to play, right? And then, have a character made for that miniature ready to hand to them. So if a player sees a big burly, dude with a shotgun or something, and you put down this guy's an ex-pirate or ex-United States Marine Corps guy that's now, I'm talking 2300, obviously, out there seeking adventure in the galaxy, right? A player's like, right off the bat, from the picture of a big burly dude with a shotgun and maybe some light body armor, and the title, ex-Marine, right off the bat, the character knows an awful lot about that character and can pick it comfortable in the assumption that the character is going to do in game kind of what the character wants done. Obviously that character, maybe he was a member of the U.S. Marine Corps in real life, and now he's all like, or she is all like, I say that because I know there's people that I occasionally come into contact with online, like Nerds Nerd, who are females that are ex-United States Marine Corps guys, or my bro Shark, chomp chomp to you, Simplify bro, who might want to play the retired Marine guy, the retired grunt. And right there, he doesn't have to, or she, they really don't have to go out of their way to try and figure out the game rules that much. Because by looking at the miniature, they've already picked their role. And because Traveler, especially if you use the Traveler, I forget the name of the expansion book that just lets you make characters by choosing, a life path. You don't even roll dice. You're just like, he went to college, he was a Marine, he did this, he did that. These are the skills he's got. Boom, done, right? You can make a character for Traveler using this system in minutes. So when the time comes to play the game, whatever it is, Traveler, Call of Cthulhu, etc., the player shows up, you hand him the character sheet, and they already have a really good idea in their head about what they're going to be playing, because they wanted to play, the ex-Marine Corps guy or the scientist or the doctor or whatever, right? And I think, and this is where you guys can have opinions, how much of that is going to be based on the characters seeing the players seeing the miniature and being like, oh yeah, that's what I want to play right there. That guy looks badass. Or the actual name of the miniature, like, ex-Marine Corps grunt guy. That's got to be me right there, I mean, me, if somebody put down a miniature and it was like, ex-Army infantryman now turned to whatever, I might be like, all right, that guy looks cool. He's got a little, sci-fi assault rifle. He's doing his thing, right? Maybe that appeals to you. So, am I the only one who has considered copying this aspect from games like Mansion of Madness, Second Edition, etc.? Or have other people actually did this? Like, you're going to play D&D, so instead of having the players make characters, you just sit down with like a couple of miniatures for every class they could play, and then throw in some different races too, dwarves, elves, etc., and then just be like, pick your character. And they pick the miniature, and then you hand them the character that goes with it. Dwarf cleric, here's your character. Dwarf fighter, here's your character. Human barbarian with a big ass greatsword, here's your character. It seems like if you're starting a new game and the players are on board, obviously, this would be a really easy way to get character generation just done, especially with a game like Old School Essentials or something where you can just, there's things online where you literally just random generate characters all day long. I think Traveler's got that too. So you could literally just be like, hit the button, boom, there's this. Boom, there's this. Boom, there's this. Assign it to the appropriate player miniature, and then be like, all right, here we go. I don't know. I'm thinking I might try it if we ever switch to a different game in the future at some time. I may actually try just sticking a bunch of, out for us, I would put pictures and brief descriptions in our game chat and just have people, what character most would you like to play, and have a couple of, what you would call backups or doubles. So if two players want to both play like a melee centric character or, a range character or whatever, have a couple options out there, so nobody feels like they have to settle. Is this a good idea? Is this a bad idea? Is this an idea that any of you in this chat have ever tried? Is it an idea that any of you in this chat would consider trying? These are the things that keep me up at night. So shoot me back an answer. Let me know if this is a good idea or a bad idea. And I shall move on from there. I may make another video today. I may not going to live stream today. I don't believe so at all. No, got a lot to do. Plus, I'm cutting down on live streaming like every day. Give some other people a chance to live stream and stuff like that, right? But that's one of the things I'm thinking about today. So, what do you think? Is it a good idea? Is it a bad idea? Would it work? Would it not? Have you done it? Have you thought about it? Hey, hit me up in comments, like, subscribe, etc. You know the deals. But more importantly than all of that, have a fetch millennium. And these are just my opinions. What suck. What's really important is your opinions. So comment. And yes, I stole that whole thing from J.S. Garvey because, he's kind of my hero. Anyway.